Ben, let's talk about two guys linked to steroids, Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens, who have not gotten in, likely will not. They're about 50% in those exit polls right now, though that is up about 15% from what they got last year, which was about 36, 35%. Are Bonds and Clemens starting to gain momentum where you actually see them getting in at some point?
I do see them getting in at some point. I think this is a big year for them. Obviously, the Hall voting population has changed this year. There's a new rule that you have to be covering baseball in the past 10 years to keep your vote. Lost about 100 voters from the ballot. Obviously, perhaps the younger generation is more inclined to forgive guys like Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens. Other leading voices, Ken Rosenthal for one, have changed their votes. They've said enough is enough. It's time to recognize these guys. I think that momentum will only continue to gather. Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens, obviously you know what they did. They were also two of the greatest players of all time. It's the Hall of Fame. It's not the Hall of the Virtuous. I think they should go in there, be recognized as part of the game's history while acknowledging their misdeeds. I think that's the only way to handle it, and I think that we're getting to a day in which that's going to happen.
You mentioned the changes that the Baseball Writers Association has made. About 100 writers have lost their vote since they've been retired and not covering the game. I'm going to ask you, as a young baseball writer, you don't have a vote yet. You still got a couple more years to go. But when that vote comes, you mentioned this younger generation more forgiving. Why is that? I'm assuming you include yourself in that generation of voters.
I do. I think it might be simply because we came up with these guys being stars of the game. Their impact in the game is fresh in our minds. And I also think that, the distance of time changes things, right? When you're right in the thick of it, you couldn't imagine maybe honoring these guys. But as you get further away, you recognize that they are an important part of the fabric of the game, and they should be recognized as such, We're not forgiving them. It's not forgiving them. It's simply recognizing that they exist and that they did impact the game as they did.